The history of the Internet, 5 billion people, 63% of the world's population, all connected by an invisible web that didn't exist just a few decades ago. The very video you're watching right now traveled through underwater cables, bounced off satellites, and passed through dozens of servers to reach your screen, all in a fraction of a second. But what if I told you that this system that powers our modern world, the Internet, was born out of the fear of nuclear annihilation?
What?
This is the story of how a military defense project transformed into humanity's greatest information network, forever changing how we live, work, communicate, and exist. Cold War origins, why and when. October 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union launches Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, shocking the United States and igniting fears of falling behind in technological advancement. In response, the U.S. Department of Defense creates ARPA, the Advanced Research Projects Agency, with a mission to regain America's technological edge. But here's where things get interesting. Military strategists faced a critical problem. America's communication systems were centralized and vulnerable. If the Soviets targeted key infrastructure during a nuclear attack, the entire command and control network could collapse. The solution? A radical new concept, a decentralized communication network with no single point of failure. If one part was destroyed, information could simply find another path. The birth of ARPANET, what and who. In 1969, a team led by computer scientist Leonard Kleinrock at UCLA made history with the first message sent over ARPANET, the grandfather of today's Internet. October 29, 1969. A computer science student types the command to log into a computer at Stanford Research Institute hundreds of miles away. They type L, then O, and the system crashes. So the first message ever sent on what would become the Internet was simply LO, accidentally prophetic for a system that would eventually let billions say hello to each other across vast distances. By the end of 1969, just 4 computers were connected to ARPANET. By 1973, the network had expanded to include international connections to the UK and Norway. But ARPANET was just the beginning. It took 3 revolutionary innovations by brilliant minds to transform this specialized government network into the Internet we know today. Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn developed TCP/IP protocols in the 1970s, essentially creating a universal language that allows different computer networks to communicate. Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web in 1989, the system of interlinked hypertext documents we navigate through browsers. Mark Andreessen and the team behind Mosaic created the first widely used graphical web browser in 1993, making the Internet accessible to non-technical users. The Internet goes mainstream, how and where? The 1990s marked the Internet's transformation from an academic curiosity to a cultural phenomenon. That iconic sound, the gateway to the online world for an entire generation. Internet service providers like AOL and CompuServe began connecting millions of homes. Tech startups exploded onto the scene. Email became a primary communication tool, and early websites like GeoCities allowed anyone to create their own corner of the web. In 1995, just 14% of American adults used the Internet. By 2000, that number had jumped to 46%. Today, over 90% of Americans are online, but the rapid growth brought both innovation and excess. By the late 90s, we were in the midst of what economists now call the dot-com bubble, a period of explosive investment in Internet companies, often with little concern for profitability. When the bubble burst in March 2000, trillions of dollars in market value vanished. Tech stock prices collapsed. Companies like Pets.com became cautionary tales. But from these ashes rose a more mature digital economy, what we now call Web 2.0, characterized by social networks, user-generated content, and interactive experiences. Suddenly, the Internet wasn't just about accessing information, it was about creating it. Ordinary people became content creators, sharing their thoughts, videos, and knowledge with the world. Today, over 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. That's more content in a single day than all the major TV networks combined could broadcast in years. Mobile revolution, where and what? January 9, 2007. Apple CEO Steve Jobs unveils the iPhone with a bold claim. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. He was right, but not just about phones. This moment fundamentally transformed how we access and experience the internet. If the 1990s connected our desktops, the mobile revolution connected our pockets. By 2016, mobile internet usage surpassed desktop for the first time. Today, over 60% of all internet traffic comes from mobile devices. This shift democratized access to information and connected billions who might otherwise have remained offline due to economic or infrastructure limitations. In many developing nations across Africa and Asia, millions of people skipped the desktop era entirely. Their first internet experience was on a smartphone. This shift created entirely new industries. The app economy, mobile commerce, ride-sharing, and food delivery services, all built on the foundation of internet-connected mobile devices. The internet today, who and where? The internet today is a global nervous system connecting over 5 billion people. Every minute, 500 hours of video uploaded to YouTube, 695,000 stories shared on Instagram, 2 million Snapchat snaps created 6 million online shoppers. Make purchases 197.6 million emails sent. But this unprecedented connectivity has created profound challenges. Data has become the world's most valuable resource, with tech giants collecting vast amounts of personal information. Major breaches have exposed the data of billions. Online platforms have transformed public discourse, elections, and social movements, both empowering citizens and enabling manipulation through misinformation. And despite the internet's global reach, a significant digital divide persists. About 3 billion people, 37% of humanity, still lack internet access. Meanwhile, in countries like China, North Korea, and Iran, governments exert strict control over what citizens can access online, creating separate versions of the internet divided by digital borders. The future internet. So where does the internet go from here? We're now witnessing the emergence of Web 3, built on blockchain technology and promising a more decentralized internet where users, not corporations, control data and digital assets. Artificial intelligence is transforming how we search for, create, and interact with online information, potentially changing our relationship with knowledge itself. Virtual and augmented reality may create entirely new digital spaces for work, education, and human connection, what some call the metaverse. New satellite internet systems aim to connect the billions still offline, potentially bringing the entire human population online for the first time in history. From a defense project born in the shadow of nuclear war to the foundation of our modern world in just a few decades, the internet represents one of the most rapid and profound technological transformations in human history. The story of the internet is ultimately a human story, about our fundamental desire to connect, to share knowledge, and to transcend the limitations of physical distance. What began with a simple hello has evolved into a global conversation involving billions of voices. And while we can't predict exactly where this technology will take us next, one thing is certain: the internet will continue to transform how we live, work, and relate to one another in ways we can scarcely imagine. As we navigate this digital future together, the choices we make about privacy, access, regulation, and design will shape not just the internet, but what it means to be human in an increasingly connected world. From 4 computers in 1969 to 5 billion users today, from 2,000 bits per second to 1 gigabit per second, from LO to a global conversation. The history of the internet is still being written, and all of us are its authors. If you found this video informative, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the technologies shaping our world. Leave a comment below sharing how the internet has changed your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.